you all for joining us today. This is Cruising with Ted, and you are here in the right place. We're going to have a live video presentation today featuring Oceania. And today we have Joseph Eastep from Oceania here. Take it away, sir. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Ted, and thank you all for taking the time to join us this afternoon. We've got a lot of exciting things happening at Oceania these days, but what I'd like to start off with is just kind of a high-level overview in case some of you are new to Oceania Cruises. But this first slide here, our tagline, "Your World, Your Way," I think does a really great job of summing up, our take on how we are able to package cruise vacations for you. We don't feel that one size fits all. And so we like to give a lot of different options, which is why it's really important to find a knowledgeable travel advisor like those with Cruisin with Ted, because they're going to be able to help navigate you through some of the multitude of options that we have available. Not only does that allow you to get the best experience, but also the best value. So with that being said, looking at the Oceania experience and what really differentiates us from all of the other cruise lines out there, you can distill it down to these three things, and this is what we call our brand pillars. First and foremost, it starts with the ship size. Our ships are smaller, 684 to 1,200 people on the largest ship that we have. Also, the focus is really on the destinations. As beautiful as those ships are, we are taking people around the world and giving them more time in these places, because that's what it's truly all about. People are traveling because they want to go experience the culture, learn the history, taste the food. And so we try to give our guests as much time as possible to do all of those things. And then last but not least, what's really become the hallmark of the Oceania Cruises brand is that we are the cruise line for foodies. We are serving the finest cuisine at sea on board of our vessels. And I know that's a very bold statement, but nobody puts their money where their mouth is like we do. We invest more per person on ingredients than any cruise line in the world. We have more chefs per person than any cruise line, and we even have more galley space. And that's because we have a separate galley for every single restaurant on board. That way we can cook a la minute, and that makes one of the biggest differences, in my opinion. So looking at the destination experience, as I said, curated travel experiences, because there are a lot of different ways for you to experience the world. But because you are sailing with fewer people, you get to explore without the crowds. Not only because there's fewer people on the ships, but because we're also designing and building itineraries that not only feature the marquee destinations, but we're also taking you off that beaten path to some smaller, more boutique ports of call. And a lot of those places, they don't have the infrastructure to handle big ships. So you'll oftentimes be the only ship in port. And then what I would really encourage you to do is dive in deep when you're looking at our itineraries and look at just how much time you get in these destinations. We built in many late evening departures as well as overnight stays. So you're getting multiple days in one destination. And that not only is going to give you more time to experience these destinations, but it also is going to change the way that you experience these destinations. There's a lot of places around the world where you want to be there at night. And if your cruise is leaving at 5 or 6 p.m., you're going to totally miss out on the greatest parts of these places. For instance, Monte Carlo. Everybody visiting Monte Carlo wants to go to the Grand Casino, watch everyone pull in and out of their Bugattis, maybe go lose some money at the tables, pretend you're James Bond for a little bit. But like I said, if your ship leaves at 5 o'clock, you miss out on that entire experience. So look at the itineraries and just see exactly how much more time you're getting with an Oceania cruise. Then while you're in these destinations with all of this time, like I said, there's a lot of different ways. Does somebody have a question or something? I'm hearing some background noise.
Chatter in the background. We do have a couple questions, but we'll go ahead and insert them when we have a moment, Joe.
Okay, maybe we can just put everybody on mute.
And by the way, Joe, if this is Ted, if anybody has a question, please put it in the chat. We won't be taking verbal questions, but we will be taking care of your questions. If you also want to get in there, you can put Alt-H to get into the chat. But that's where you put your questions. Also, we'd like to hear if you've been on an Oceania cruise, any feedback, any information that you need, or if you're going on a future cruise, please tell us about your plans. We'd love to hear it. Sorry about that, Joe. Go ahead.
And everybody, please make sure you're muted out there in the audience. We've had a lot of chatter in the background.
To help identify possible biosecurity risks,
So I haven't-
officers rely on detector dogs.
Okay.
I think you can mute everybody.
I thought you said I am.
In Sydney, detector dog Sandy has reacted to this parcel sent from Ghana.
Somebody please make sure
I
you.
would suspect anything sent from Ghana and Africa.
Medicine.
All right, I'm gonna go. Just give me a minute while I go through and mute everybody
As the
here,
first
okay?
bag is opened, officers are
It's not been packed by you, has it?
the contents.
Plant material, gosh, bark. Feels all soiled. That looks pretty moldy, isn't it? It hasn't been dried properly.
Bark is a prohibited import into
Why the hell would
Australia
anyone
as it
want to
can
import
carry
that?
foreign pests and
You're-
contaminants that could pose a
Medicines
major
from
threat
it,
to our environment and agriculture.
I don't know why they would be saying this, but because it's still wet, there could be.
Are you still hearing voices, guys?
Yes.
I mean, I've got everybody
I've
muted.
got a TV program competing with me.
The box also contains the empty shells.
It looks
of
like it's
pine
Gene
African
Hodis
snails.
is showing up as being.
What'd you say?
Officer Phil believes he knows
Gene
what the
Hodis.
unusual collection is for.
Odin?
Is it you? Hodes.
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay.
What's a customs officer?
Sorry. Okay, I'm getting in now.
Okay. I think that was it.
All right.
Sorry,
Sorry
Joe.
about that.
All right. Well,
Continue.
jumping right back in. As I was saying, we've got a lot of different types of shore experiences also, because again, one size doesn't fit all. Not everybody has the same motivations when they're visiting a destination on what exactly they want to do. So we provide a ton of different options. And in fact, I would encourage you, if you go to our website, we have a really nice feature. It's on the main page at the very top. There's a link that says Explore a Shore. And we have a nice filter system where you can search by types of tours and really see everything that we have at a glance, and makes it very simple. But just to give you some ideas, some of the different things that we're doing while we're in port, we have experiences like our Go Local tours, where again, you're really getting off the beaten path and you're getting to experience a destination through the eyes of a local. These are smaller groups, 10 to 12 people at most. And like I said, some really unique experiences. For instance, we do a really nice one in Rome, where you get to actually go truffle hunting in the Roman countryside with dogs in small groups, again, out of the crowds, away from all the big city hoopla. Very nice way to experience that destination. Being the Foodies cruise line, you're going to know that we have a lot of different ways to experience a destination through the culinary lens. And one of those is with our culinary discovery tours. When we debuted Marina and Riviera back in 2011 and 2012, we also debuted the first ever hands-on cooking school at sea. So not only do you eat world-class cuisine on board our ships, but you also get to learn from our chefs, the skills, the techniques, and the recipes. And we infuse that with the destination experience through our culinary discovery tours. So this is the opportunity to get off the ship and go on a tour led by a chef rather than a tour guide. They take you to the city centers, going to the local markets, learning about the local cuisine firsthand, and then you come back on board the ship and you actually get to learn how to make that yourself. So those are really great and available all over the world. And then last but not least, some of my favorite tours are the Aquamar Spa wellness tours. These are great ways to experience a destination through the lens of wellness and a healthy lifestyle. So think of things like a Tai Chi class on a Majorcan beach, or even meditation at the top of Mount Etna. I learned about this really unique experience in Sri Lanka, where you do a dance therapy class, actually learning the traditional Kandyan dance that they do that promotes vitality and wellness. So just some interesting and different ways to experience your world. And these are all available through different packages. Again, there's other cruise lines out there that are including one tour in every port, sort of a city highlights tour. But again, because of the variety that we have a lot of different ways that you can package that, whether you want an all-included shore excursion package, a small number of tours, or just a la carte. We try to make it so that you can get whatever works best for you. Beyond just the cruise itself, it's really important to think about Oceania as more than just a cruise line, because we've introduced ways to experience destinations that don't even touch the ocean, if you can imagine that. Lots of cruise lines will package land tours either pre or post cruise, which we do have as well. But my favorite are what we call our overland experiences. One of the trends that Oceania has really seen over the past 6 months to a year is the tendency for our guests to be booking longer and longer voyages. We've been doing world cruises and grand voyages since 2014. To give you an idea, in 2019, about 9% of our business was made up of grand voyages and world cruises. As we look forward into 23 and 24, that number actually is jumping to about 40% of our business. So it's becoming this new identity for Oceania as the cruise line to take you on these grand voyages and around the world sailings. So because we have more time with these longer sailings, with our overland tours, you're actually leaving the ship mid-cruise and venturing off farther inland to experience a destination, and then rejoining the ship and finishing out your sailing after that. My favorite example to use there to really get your wheels turning to think about what is available. When we're in India, we have a tour called the Himalayan Kingdoms of Nepal and Bhutan. And you actually leave the ship for 7 days, visit Nepal, Bhutan, Kathmandu. We do a flight seeing tour of Mount Everest, and then you rejoin the ship and finish out that sailing. I like to use that because I would say it's a safe bet that anybody that's ever thought about going to see Mount Everest did not think, hey, we should see what cruises are available. But that's kind of how you have to change your thinking when you're thinking about an Oceania vacation. And again, go to the website and check out that Explore Ashore tab. And that's one of the options. You can search through all of the different overland experiences and see some of the more unique things that we have there. But here, just to really quantify things for you and show you a little bit of a comparison between two similar itineraries between Oceania and some of the more mainstream premium cruise lines that are out there. You'll see some of the statistics, but that bottom line is the one I want you to really focus in on. Just the amount of time that you get in these destinations. And my little salesy one-liner there is that with an Oceania cruise, you're actually getting more destination per dollar spent. And it is significant, as you can see right there. So take the time to really look through the itineraries, look at how much time you're getting, look at the different, off the beaten path boutique ports that you're visiting. And I promise you, we will definitely stand out from the crowd. Well, let's move on now and take a quick look through the fleet of small, intimate, luxurious vessels that we operate. And again, when you're looking at a comparison between us and the other premium lines out there, you'll see that we're about half that size. And the stat that gets talked about in the cruise industry a lot, that GRT, that stands for gross registered tonnage. So typically cruise ships are in that 150 to now, even with the mega ships, all the way up to 280,000 gross registered tons. And as you can see, our largest vessel at 67, much smaller. And if any of you have seen one of our ships in port, you'll get that visual. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you see one of our little guys parked next to all the big mega ships, it's pretty visual how much smaller we actually are. But more than just the size, I think the biggest difference about our ships is the feel that you get when you walk on board. It's got a very residential feeling to it, and that's because we work with actual residential home designers like Ralph Lauren Home, Dakota Jackson, just to name a few. All of the furnishings that we use, all residential quality, the best that you can get your hands on. And we have one of the most stunning art collections that I've ever seen at sea. In fact, all of the pieces that we have were hand selected by our founders, and it's even become one of the enrichment activities available on the ships. You can take a self-guided art tour and get an iPod from our reception desk with a little map, and you do a tour of the ship, hearing commentary from the artists about all of the different pieces that we feature. As an example, there's 16 Picassos on Marina alone. And that's one of the activities the cruise directors always like to do, is they challenge everybody to try to find all of the different Picassos on that ship. Additionally, as I already mentioned, two of our vessels, Marina and Riviera, feature the Culinary Center, the first of its kind hands-on cooking schools at sea. And this has been a huge hit with our guests, so much so that is continuing on to Vista, which is the new ship that we will be debuting next year. But beyond just those tours that I was talking about, you can also take classes on board the ship itself, everything from knife skills classes to Oceania favorites, where you get to learn how to make all of the most favorite recipes from each of the different specialty restaurants that we have. But really fun, really engaging activities. You don't have to be a professional chef to enjoy this. In fact, I can barely boil water, and I had a great time in the culinary class that I took. The wine was flowing, so it's always a good time when that's happening. Last but not least, one of the other sort of unique and different sort of enrichment activities that we have available on the vessels is our Artist Loft Enrichment Center. So on board Marina and Riviera, we're going to have 2 artists in residence on every one of our sailings. And they're not only going to be featuring their own personal artworks in this venue, but then they will also teach classes on whatever medium it is that they are an expert at. There's no charge for these classes. It's just something offered by Oceania, and our guests, again, they really seem to love that experience. Think painting with a twist if you've ever done that in your local areas. All right, last but not least, when we're talking about our 3 pillars, we've touched on the destination experience, the small luxurious ships, but my absolute favorite, and as I said, what's become the hallmark of our brand is that we are the cruise line serving the finest cuisine at sea. And it starts with this gentleman right here. This is the master himself, Master Chef Jacques Pepin, who has been the executive culinary director for Oceania Cruises since day one when we started the company. And this is much more than a licensing agreement where we get to use his name. He's very involved in everything we do. In fact, Jacques even hosts a sailing himself every single year. So you can actually sail with Jacques, do cooking classes and demonstrations. His daughter, Claudine, is the godmother of one of our vessels. She also hosts a sailing every single year. She's an acclaimed chef in her own right. His first ever namesake restaurant debuted on Marina, Jacques Bistro. The list goes on and on and on. We're very fortunate to have him. But as great as he has a saying. He'll tell you, you know, you can be the greatest chef in the world, but if you have a lousy tomato, there's really nothing you can do with it. So step 1 in creating the finest cuisine at sea is only sourcing the finest ingredients we can get our hands on. And we go to extreme lengths to do so. We do things other cruise lines wouldn't consider, logistically speaking, like our fresh fish program. We have a fresh fish program where we're only sourcing local fresh fish, or we're overnighting in fresh fish to the different ports that maybe it's not available at. We have a special relationship with the Planchot flour mill in France. Every bag of Verone flour that we get is milled exactly to the specifications for each of the different breads and pastries that we're baking fresh every single morning. Again, the list goes on and on. We serve Iberico ham, the finest pork products you can get. But the chefs are really empowered to the point where when we get provisions, if it doesn't meet their standards, they can send it away right then and there, and we'll, you know, do whatever we need to do to get them what they need at the highest level of quality. But once they get their hands on those finest ingredients, then it's all up to these guys, the finest culinary team in the industry, led by Jacques Pepin, who, as I mentioned, is a master chef. If you didn't know, that's similar to being a master sommelier. It's the highest level that you can attain in French cooking. There's only a few hundred people in the world that are master chefs, but in fact, we have 3 in addition to Jacques on our team. So all of these guys have been recruited from the best hotels and restaurants around the world. And one of the biggest reasons they want to come and work at Oceania is the environment they get to work in. These are Michelin star quality galleys. And as I already mentioned, we have a separate galley for every restaurant. So there's no, dual responsibilities. If you're a classically trained French chef, I think the last thing you would want to do is work in a restaurant where you had to cook French food and then a little bit of sushi on the side. So they get to work in an environment where they get to show off all of their skills, and they get all of the latest and the greatest as far as the gizmos and the gadgets in the galleys. So it's a winning system. The best food, the best chefs, the best environments to work in, and everything is cooked fresh and hot a la minute. So as we look forward, lots of exciting things on the horizon, and these have actually been ongoing since about 2018. We launched an initiative called Oceania Next, which was a multi-year brand and guest experience enhancement strategy. It included several different phases throughout, starting with the re-inspiration of our entire fleet. Our entire fleet went back into dry dock and got really stripped down to just the studs and built back up again. So these ships are actually better than they were when they were first built. Some of the new technologies that have been introduced. So we're really excited about that. On the guest experience front, we also have a lot of new initiatives. We have new menus in all of the restaurants, some really fun and interesting new wine tasting programs, which I did get to experience in February when I was on board the Riviera. And these are really extensive wine tasting programs beyond anything I had ever done before. In fact, it was about a 2.5 to 3 hour experience, not drinking wine that entire time, I promise you, but a lot of education as well. So the sommeliers went into great detail talking about the different grape varietals and the different types of wines that we were experiencing. And it had, of course, the food to go along with it. So it was a tasting of food and wine, and they really went into detail about which foods paired well with the types of wines and why. And I thought it was very, very fun. Also, just, some other things as far as new shore experiences as well. That's something that we're always trying to raise the bar with. I already called out a few of those with our culinary discovery tours, our go local tours, our wellness tours. Just recently, the other two that we just launched are our go green tours, which are a way to experience a destination through a lens of ecology and conservation. And then another really interesting one are tours called Beyond Blueprints, where you get to experience a destination through the architecture and what makes the architecture unique in that destination. I also mentioned the refurbishment and the re-inspiration of the vessels. And one of the most exciting things happening with that is the introduction of our solo staterooms. So on our R-class ships, some of those categories that are currently available are getting recategorized and redone to accommodate solo travelers. Also, our new ship Vista, which will be coming out next year, is also going to be debuting solo staterooms. And these are not little closets on the bottom of the ship, but actually even on Vista, these are going to be concierge level veranda solo staterooms. So very excited if you are a solo traveler. No more awkward conversations about single supplements. These will be priced for solos and designed for solos. All right, so we've talked about it all. We've talked about the three pillars, expanded on those topics, and what makes us special and unique. But how do we package this all into a tremendous value for you? As I started the presentation with, it's all about choice at Oceania, and so that's what it is. It's the OLife choice, and about 80% of the bookings that we make take advantage of this program, which includes not only your free round-trip airfare from 26 gateways across North America, as well as the entire list of included amenities that you see there on the bottom in that white box. But in addition to that, you also get to choose either a free shore excursion package, a free beverage package, or what a lot of people like to do is they take an equivalent valued shipboard credit, which they can use for anything and everything. So that's really our take on all inclusivity, is rather than telling you what is included, we give you a credit and you can use that however you want. On top of all of that, when working with a trusted partner like those at Cruisin with Ted, you can also take advantage of exclusive offers. Excuse me, I had a slide diving a little bit deeper into OLife choice. So with those packages and that shore excursion, or excuse me, that shipboard credit, that is going to vary. Obviously, the longer sailing that you go on, the higher value that is going to take. But also what I was calling out is the exclusive offers that you can get through trusted travel partners like Cruisin with Ted, who is a member of the Signature Travel Network. And we do a lot of business with them. And so there's lots of exclusive offers that you can layer on top of that OLife choice package. For instance, they have an entire list of sailings that you can get free prepaid gratuities on exclusively through a signature travel agency. So make sure once you find that perfect itinerary and you start the conversation about getting your stateroom or suite booked, make sure to ask about any exclusive offers. And then last but not least, I wanted to finish today with a short little video introducing you to the most exciting thing happening here at Oceania Cruises, and that is the launch of Vista. We're very excited. There are a lot of new innovative things that we'll be debuting, including new restaurants, new stateroom categories. But just a sneak peek at this point, she won't be sailing until May of next year. So we are just teasing you with information right now. Itineraries are on sale. If you haven't had a chance to look through those and book your cruise on Vista's inaugural season, you should definitely do that. There is very limited space. This is the first new ship that we've debuted in over a decade. So lots of excitement around Vista. Excuse me, but I will shut up now and I will let the video do the talking. And then after the video, maybe we can circle back to some of the questions that I think might have popped up there in the chat box. So give me just 1 second here to make sure the video is working properly, and then we will be good to go. All right. So who is excited for Vista?
We all are, Joe, and we do have a couple questions for you. To start,
Fantastic.
when will it first have its sailing in Europe, in the Mediterranean? And then when does it arrive in the US?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot with actual dates. Well, I know that the first sailing is in May, and so she will spend the summer season in the May, June, July, August, before she transits back across the Atlantic to New York. And then she'll make her way from New York down to Miami and then over to the West Coast in LA as we show her off to the North American market. But specific dates on that, I don't know. You could look it up on our website to see, the first sailings out of New York to know when she'll be over here. But I'm pretty sure it's late August.
Is there anything new that you can tell us about the Vista?
Yeah, there's all kinds of new things. So this ship is going to be the first in our fleet that doesn't have any inside cabins. The starting category is actually going to be a French balcony. And then also, like I said, we're debuting solo staterooms for the first time on our concierge level. So concierge level veranda solo staterooms. There are 2 new additional specialty restaurants. Expanding on, there's been a lot of initiatives at Oceania surrounding wellness, right? Aquamar Spa and Vitality Center was, launched with a lot of different initiatives, including the launch of our plant-based menu. We now boast the largest plant-based menu at sea, which has been very well received. And so when Vista debuts, she's actually going to have a restaurant all designed around wellness and healthy eating with the Aquamar Spa kitchen. Also, the Culinary Center on board Vista is going to be much larger, and it's also going to have like a little restaurant attached to it. So there's a lot of different things that we're going to be able to do with that venue as far as private dinners, tasting dinners, specialty, guest chef type dinner experiences. So that's all still in the works. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch of other new and exciting things, but she's going to be stunning, that's for sure.
And again, can we get an idea of when it will hit the US?
Yeah, in the fall of 23.
There's a question from one of the folks that asks, is it ready for a May 20th sailing?
Yeah, so those of you that have been paying attention and are astute will maybe have already known that the original debut of Vista was scheduled for early April. We did unfortunately have to cancel 3 of those initial sailings, and confidentially, we probably over canceled, but that was due to the fact that we wanted to make that a one-time thing so that there wouldn't be any other changes due to any unforeseen delays. So we built in enough time so that, yeah, it'll definitely be ready to go by that first cruise in May.
We have some true Oceania veterans here who sailed a lot of your ships. We do have somebody on the transatlantic for the Vista out of London to New York City for around September 17th, we believe.
That's great to hear. We do have a very loyal following. On a typical Oceania cruise, about 50 to 60% sometimes of the guests make up our past guests, which I think speaks volumes to the experience that you get with us. People want to keep coming back again and again.
We have Debbie with us today that has sailed 15 times.
All right, 5 more and you get a free one.
There you go.
Every 20th sailing with Oceania is free sailing up to 14 days. We have that's another, I think big reason we have such a loyal following is we have one of the richest loyalty programs in the industry. We really take care of our past guests.
Hey, Debbie, call us. The Cruisin with Ted team is waiting to get those 5 cruises booked for you and get you your free cruise.
We should, Joe, you should name a cruise ship after Debbie since she has so many cruises. What should we call it?
Well, funny you should mention that. So Vista is the first of 2 ships in a new class that we're launching. So Vista will have a sister ship, which is on schedule to be delivered in 2025. And we have not named that ship. So
what about Debbie's Love Boat?
Debbie's Love Boat. I don't know if that has the right ring. If you look at all of the names of our ships, the Insignia, Regatta, Nautica, Marina, Riviera, they all end in the letter A, and they all have to have some sort of nautical terminology. In fact, you know, we usually do like naming contests. So when we first announced Vista, we announced that we would be launching the Allura class, which is what the class of vessel is called, but it was a naming contest. And those were the requirements. It had to end in A and have some sort of a nautical connotation to it.
All right. Any more questions, Mary Pat?
There was a question about why did the decision to go towards a bigger class of ships? But then when you showed that slide, it doesn't appear that they're anywhere near the size of other cruise
Yeah, what I think they're probably referring to. So the original ships that Oceania was founded with were vessels that we actually didn't build ourselves. They came from another cruise line that had gone out of business right after 9/11. Those ships have they're like a sweet spot as far as size go. They used to have a capacity for 684 guests, but that actually is dropping to 656 because we are introducing solo staterooms. So that's going to have, you know, the capacity in those staterooms. So when we built Marina and Riviera, it was a pretty big jump in size as far as going from 684 to 1,200 passengers. But if you've ever been on those ships, the way that they were designed and the tonnage, it doesn't feel any bigger, in my opinion. I've sailed on every ship in our fleet, and it doesn't feel like you're on a ship that's twice as big, which tonnage-wise it kind of is.
Well, we have Anita and Alan have done one of your 36-day cruises. And I, a couple years ago, had 2 clients booked on the World Cruise with Oceania.
That's great. Yeah. The longest cruise I've ever done is 10 days. But, you know, I always say the worst part about every cruise is when I have to get off. So I think I could definitely do 32 or longer.
Look what we have here. How does the cost of solo differ from a single paying for 2 guests?
Sure. So there is no single supplement. So when you go to the website, the pricing that you see is it. There's no extra on top of that. It's not going to be what it would cost. Like if you were in a concierge level stateroom and you paid the full single supplement, it would be a lot more than what you'll see priced as far as the single stateroom. Maybe not exactly half, but pretty close.
We have a lot of interest in solo travel.
Which is why we're introducing solo staterooms on all of the ships, because that, like I said, is a growing segment of our demographic, and we want to be able to accommodate for that.
We're thrilled to hear that.
Any more?
Is it safe to book airfare for May's cruise? I think they're concerned. We don't use OLife because we don't, we usually book them ourselves is what they're saying. Do we?
Yeah, like I said, I think you're referring to the Vista inaugural sailing. And like I said, the information that I was told was that we had built in enough of a buffer that launch date shouldn't be an issue. You know, that being said, I think we could all say that one thing the last couple of years have taught us is that you should be prepared for anything, right? Never say never.
Never say never.
But yeah, I think you're pretty good to go.
Ted, that looks like most of the questions that we were able to pass on.
Okay, let me do a few minutes of presentation here, guys. And here we go. Anyway, I welcome you all today to our presentation with Oceania. We had a great turnout. I don't know how many we have, but certainly in the high dozens. So thank you for attending today. I am Cruising with Ted. So we are travel advisors, and we do recommend that either you work with us or a travel advisor. Roxanne, why don't you tell us what the advantages are of working with travel? Roxanne's one of our top agents, and that's her email there. Tell us about why they should work with the travel agent.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. A travel advisor, if you have a great travel advisor, hold on to them. If you need a great travel advisor, reach out to the Cruising with Ted team. We can help you with so much more than just the cruise. Pre and post. Sometimes a pre and post with a cruise line can be a little expensive. And if you work with us, we can help and compare the airfare as well, business, economy, premium economy, whatever help you need. If you want help with insurance, maybe you have a little bit of coverage with your credit card and you only need a little bit more coverage. Well, then you don't need to cover your whole trip, but we can help you with your insurance. Whatever you need with travel, 28 years of selling it. We have great relationships. We love Oceania, and we're here to help you.
Thank you so much, Roxanne. And another reason to book with us is, as Mr. Eastep mentioned, we do offer exclusive amenities. We can offer extra onboard credit on select sailings. You can actually get prepaid gratuities. So before you book, call us first, because maybe we don't have it on the one sailing you want, but there might be another sailing that has prepaid gratuities or other excellent perks like that. So be sure to reach out to us, or even after you book, you can call us with an existing booking, and we can help you with that. We do have a Oceania Cruises Facebook group. It's growing rapidly now with over 4,000 members. We have a Facebook page, Cruisin with Ted. Go on that page and like it. We have great information. We are specialists in small ship cruising. So every day you're going to find information about small ship cruising like Oceania, expedition cruises, river cruises, yacht cruises, and all types of travel, land travel, anything that you need. We have a web page called cruisinwithted.com, and on this web page we represent all the cruise lines and also all the various travel companies. There's the ones, and there's actually more than that. So any cruise line you're interested in, and when you go on there, you can register to win a free vacation. Click that, or you can register for our specials, and make sure you put your email in there so that you're on the list, because we do have exclusive offers that when you call the cruise line may not be available. So be sure to reach out to us. Here's information on the marina, where there's special promotions, and you can search for destinations right there on our website. Here's a Buenos Aires destination guide. We have thousands of destination guides right there on our website. You can do hotel searches. We have travel resources. All that's there for you. And another thing is we do offer travel insurance. So, we want to make sure that, Christy, are you there with us?
I am.
She offers a great variety of travel insurance. She's based in New York. She's also one of our top agents. Christy, why don't you tell us about why they should get travel insurance through you? Even if they book with another cruise line, or they're already booked on a cruise, why should they reach out for you for travel insurance?
Well, travel insurance is super important. Anytime you're going to travel, you want to protect your investment, and nobody really plans to get sick or injured, or any type of trip cancellation. So you definitely want to protect your investment. I will say, a lot of people hesitate to purchase it because it's an additional cost to your trip. But it is a nightmare if you don't have insurance and you end up getting sick, or something happens and you're injured. I can't tell you how many times, I've dealt with that with people that did not insure their trip. Once you're traveling internationally, you really need to have that trip insurance. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me for trip insurance. You can get it right through Oceania, or I work with several third-party travel insurance companies that I can send you quotes to.
Thanks so much, Christy.
Sure.
Okay, so that's advice well taken. If you're on a cruise and you don't have travel insurance and you have a serious heart ailment or something, what are they going to do? Strap you to the back of a dolphin and point to the nearest hospital? I mean, no, but all joking aside, I have many, including wealthy clients who never get travel insurance, and all it takes is one time, and it's a real tragedy. It's not really a laughing matter, but yes, definitely get travel agent. Definitely get our travel insurance. We also offer a travel app. Many of our agents here use them religiously. Mary Pat, how does this travel app work, and how much does it cost?
It is wonderful. It's one of my clients' favorite things about it is they have everything, their itinerary, their documents, their travel info, their hotels, emergency phone numbers, and so on, right there on the app, that they can also reach out and get a hold of us in emergencies. Their flights, we receive notification immediately when there's a delay or even a change of gate. Good point as to why it's so important. Last month, I had a client who left her luggage in the hotel in Prague, and she was at the airport to go to Munich when she realized it. Wow. So she calls me at 2:00 in the morning through the travel app, and I was able to track down a way to get that luggage from Prague to Munich for her that day before she sailed on her river cruise. So it is great to have, and it is at no charge to our clients. It's a benefit that we provide for them.
Oh, that's great, Mary Pat. How do we reach you by email?
Reach me by email at marypat@cruisinwithted.com.
There you go. Okay. Ted's top 5 tips on what to pack for an Oceania cruise. It's country, club, casual dress, can be tailored to suit your taste. So don't freak out too much about how to dress on board. You're probably not going to wear cutout jeans, Bermuda shorts to dinner, right? But, this is just a really nice cruise line. You don't have to be too uptight about how you dress, but, dress nice, but casual. If there's some place that you're going to, you might want to bring a nice suit or something for a nice occasion, but certainly you don't have to wear tuxedos every night. Okay. We do recommend you pack comfortable shoes for exploring. Okay. So you can go online, find some nice shoes, make sure the ones that are worn in. So, just be comfortable, wear nice, comfortable clothes. Some ports may have a dress code, so you might need to abide by that if you're going to a religious place, where you might have to have covering. Be aware of that. Go online and don't skip on the essentials. Make sure you bring your medicine, also passport, travel documents. Make sure that you're all covered there. Okay. These are some photos to share from some of the guests on board. On special occasions, because of the finest cuisine at sea, they're making pumpkins. So this was from last year, but if you're going this year in October, they do celebrate a little bit on board. I don't know if you have to bring a costume, but you might want to do that. These are some of the guests on board. You can see, this is probably a lunch, how they're dressed for lunch. It's not exactly totally fancy for lunch, so you don't have to worry about all that. They do have a casino on board. Okay, so and they're very, very nice, comfy, casual casinos. This is a smoking room. You can see there's an ashtray there. So if you are a smoker, you are accommodated. So don't worry about that. This is the Versace plate emblem on the back of the plate. And this is Mr. Papon. This is our chef. He's amazing. Jack Papon has been with them since, I don't know if it's the beginning, but like we mentioned, they are known for their cuisine. There is no better cruise line for cuisine. That this is their forte. They put everything into it. So this is Cruising with Ted saying you should be here right now, like me on this cruise ship on Oceania. Okay, so this is our information to reach out to us. We did show this earlier. So if you need help with the cruise, you have any questions, if you're already booked on a cruise, looking to book one, doesn't matter. We can help you. We can still add credits in many cases. Anything else you want to say? Joseph, I should say?
No, I think we've covered it all. We really look forward to hopefully welcoming you guys aboard for your next vacation.
Okay, thank you so much. Any ages there want to say something?
Yes, thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Keep sailing. This is Cruising with Ted signing out. Ta-ta.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.